big reason, I should say, why people can't lose weight is because their cortisol is all out of whack, their stress hormone. Throughout life, we are exposed to things like chronic stress, different medications, antibiotics, the birth control pill is a really big one. All of these factors come in and they start to wipe out our good gut bacteria. Now, not so great bacteria can overgrow.
If you're absorbing the nutrients better, my guess is you have fewer cravings.
Absolutely, because sometimes we actually crave food not because we're hungry, but we're nutrient deficient. A lot of women might not even realize that they have PCOS, and they might only find out one day when they're trying to conceive. These things can affect your organs. They can cause organ damage in the long run. If you don't look at that underlying cause, who knows where to lead you.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Laura Show. Ladies who are watching, if you're in your 30s and your 40s, you're gonna wanna watch this episode right to the end because we got some great information for you. In fact, you're probably gonna wanna share this episode in your WhatsApp chat with all your girlfriends because we're gonna be talking about a lot of health issues that us ladies fall prey to, things that happen to us that we need answers to. And so I brought in a guest, an amazing expert, a naturopathic doctor, Dr. Rebecca Karlin. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. We're gonna get right into it.
Okay.
I feel like in the realm of health, a lot of people get into the industry either from like personal experience or maybe something younger. For me, I actually have my undergraduate degree in nutrition. I like to drop that little seed when all the doctors come on the show.
Okay.
So I kind of sort of sometimes know what you're talking about.
I love that, yeah.
But the reason is in all honesty, I got into that field when I was, 17 years old. You kind of pick the field that you're going to go into. And at that time, I was struggling with like disordered eating. And I think getting into nutrition was my way of helping myself through wanting to help other people.
Yeah.
It turns out that we went down a very different path after that. But I was curious, like, how did you get into this field? What's your story?
Yeah, so it goes all the way back, really. I was 18 years old and I was really struggling with my own health. Primarily, I was struggling with my skin. I went to university and that's when all the problems really came about. And I was, drinking heavily. I gained a bunch of weight as you do when you go away to university.
The freshman 20 or
what
what
is it called? Like, I don't even know how much it was, but it was a lot. And I didn't even know that there was a problem. I was like, yeah, I wear makeup every day to cover up my skin and I'm not really happy with how I look, but I didn't really know it was a huge problem until one day I was just fed up with all of these symptoms I was experiencing. And I didn't know what to do except for, go to my doctor. Mm-hmm. And my doctor was helpful my doctor was as helpful as they could be.
And you say that probably based on their education and their experience, like with some of this stuff?
Yeah, I guess it was to their knowledge. Like They were helping me as much as they thought that they could. But I remember like this one moment, I was really, and when I say struggling with my symptoms, I didn't know back then that I was struggling with PCOS symptoms, Polycystic Ovary Syndrome symptoms, but I had the acne, I had some hair loss, it was really difficult for me to lose weight. My periods were a little wonky. But so, I went to my doctor and I said, is anything that I'm eating maybe affecting my skin? My skin was like the biggest problem for me. And he looked at me, he's like, no, definitely not. But I'll give you this prescription of birth control.
Right.
And I was like, so nervous. I'm like, I know about birth control that like a lot of my friends take it, but I was nervous to take it. Mm-hmm. And I did a lot of research on it. I've always been a researcher.
What did you go to school for at this time? What were you in school for?
I was actually in school for business.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're in school for business and you didn't go to school necessarily at this time for what you ended up doing. And the reason I ask is because, you said you research a lot. Back when I think I was like 13, when I went to the doctor for skin issues, I had not a lot of acne where I needed like the Accutane, but like just consistent and constant acne.
Yeah.
And they put me on birth control right away. And I didn't think to like research at 13. Like, you know.
Right. Well, I mean,
I did whatever the doctor and my parents were like, sure, I guess that's the thing you do. So
I think because my parents were so skeptical, they've never been people that wanted us to be on any medication. Like they questioned everything. And so they initiated that fear for me a little bit.
Right.
Which is like good and bad. But then, so yeah, I did my own research. But regardless, I'm like, you know what? I want clear skin. I'm getting on the pill. And so I went on the pill for like a month. Mm-hmm. And I started having really bad headaches. And I'm like, that's it. I'm getting off. I was a little too nervous. And so then, as I said, I was doing my own research and I started to learn, what my doctor said might not be true. Maybe I can influence what's going on with me through the foods that I'm eating. And so I started to really experiment myself. And I would make every single green smoothie in the world. I was like, at this point, 19, 20, and like drinking these disgusting concoctions.
Oh, yes.
All in the hopes that I'm like, my skin will be better, Didn't even realize all the other symptoms that were problematic. And then I would buy every supplement that there was at the supplement store, spending so much money just so I can clear my skin. Because as a young girl, like that's so important to you.
Yeah.
And then, after probably a year or so of this, kind of not really getting anywhere, I found out I could actually see someone called a naturopathic doctor. I'm like, what is this? So I went, and I went to school at this point at Wilfrid Laurier. So I found a naturopathic doctor up in Waterloo, and she was like the best. It was so therapeutic, that initial intake with her. She just got to know everything about me, and it was more than just my skin. And so when I was sitting there and she was helping me, talking to me, I just thought, like, this is what I need to do. Like, I need to do this for other people. And so then I took an immediate turn from, business straight into sciences.
So you didn't finish your business degree?
No,
okay.
I finished early.
Yeah.
And I had to go do all of these prerequisite courses as well. And and that's how I got into it. It's a long story, I guess.
Wow, no, it's not. No, I'm just always so curious how people fall into health, because it's not an easy path. Yeah. I have friends that are naturopathic doctors too, and like you're in school for a long time. You're also, it's obviously more understood nowadays, but like back in the day when my friends were going to school for this sort of thing, it's not like it was mainstream. Like people had their doctor, and it was kind of like, what's this naturopathic doctor gonna do? And is it like foofy-foffy? And of course now, health here in Canada at least has I think done a better job. I'm sure there's still a lot of improvement that can happen, but a better job at saying like, one is not necessarily replacing the other, but it can be your team of healthcare providers that kind of come to you. It's so interesting. University was kind of the start of, I feel like, my health issues, to my gut issues in particular. And so I want us to maybe go down the gut route before we touch on some other things, because I feel like that's like the start of everything. I was, people told me, oh, you have IBS. That's what it is, irritable bowel syndrome, right? And it's just, I would eat things and I would be really uncomfortable. I'd be bloated a lot, gassy a lot. Sorry, folks who are listening. And just generally speaking, uncomfortable. And again, I wonder if that kind of impacted my skin as well. And it wasn't until I kind of took the bull by the horns and said, I'm going to eliminate a lot of food. So I kind of went on an elimination diet for 6 months and ate like rice and chicken with nothing on it, like very bland food. And then slowly started adding things back where I could really start to see, okay, there's certain things that bother me, or at the very least, like kind of heal my gut issues. Is that typical of where you would start with people if they come to you? Because I feel like women come often, they say they have gut issues, right? So where do you start with people?
Yeah, so a lot of the women that come to me, either they've never done any digging into what's going on with their gut, like if we're focusing on the gut, or they've already gone down that kind of rabbit hole, I would call it, where they're eliminating this and then that and then everything, and then their diet becomes so restrictive. And, I think initially when I was first practicing ever as a naturopathic doctor, I thought that was the right way to do it, because that's what I had learned. It's like, let's do an elimination diet right off the bat. But then I noticed, like women can't really live their life like this, where they're eliminating everything from their diet. How are they supposed to go on, and for how long?
Yeah, like you can't eat out anywhere. You can't go to parties. You can't do anything, right?
You really can't.
So restrictive, yeah.
And so I had to come to a place where I was very selective with who I implemented this sort of elimination diet with. And, it's also not helpful if someone has like also a history of disordered eating and we're getting them to remove all of these foods, like it can be very triggering for them as well. And so you have to be very careful. And so when it comes to the gut, when someone comes to me and they're experiencing, for example, symptoms of IBS, and IBS is this like blanket statement.
I feel like it's just like the thing doctors say when they don't know what it is.
Well, that's
Is
exactly
that okay?
it. Yeah, it's like, well,
Yeah.
we're not really sure what else is going on. We've done some kinds of tests and we can't figure it out. So you have IBS and we'll try to manage your symptoms.
Right.
But what people don't understand, and this is what I try to explain right away, actually, when I first start working with someone, is that actually these symptoms of IBS are not just there for no reason. They're not normal. They're actually likely coming from an underlying, what we call microbial overgrowth, which is this overgrowth of unwanted bacteria within the gut, right? Because
what causes that in the gut?
Different things.
Okay.
Because we have this like microbiome, right? And so the microbiome is just a family of a ton of different bacteria, right? Some good, some not so great, but theoretically our good microbes in our gut keep the not so great microbes in check. But then, throughout life, we are exposed to things like chronic stress, different medications, antibiotics, the birth control pill is a really big one. And the list kind of goes on. All of these factors come in and they start to wipe out our good gut bacteria. Now, not so great bacteria can overgrow. So it can happen that way. It can also happen, there are other methods, right? But often, especially when it comes to IBS, I'm seeing a lot of different overgrowths going on. And so rather than just eliminating all of these foods from now until who knows
Would
when,
that fix the overgrowth though, in theory?
eliminating the
Yeah,
foods?
eliminating foods or not necessarily?
Not necessarily, no. There are actually some overgrowths, something like SIBO, which I talk a lot about with my patients, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, where you actually have to take, you can go the natural route, you can do natural antimicrobials, but oftentimes people actually have to take antibiotics to get rid of this sort of thing.
Oh.
Like it's a real infection.
Okay.
And so if you're going to get rid of foods, fine. Like maybe you're not going to have symptoms right now, but once you reintroduce those foods,
it all comes back.
Yeah.
It's interesting you touched on anxiety and stress. What is the connection between like our mental health and our gut?
Oh yeah, it's huge. It is huge. And I don't know if it's spoken about enough.
Yeah.
So when it comes to, anxiety, depression, things like that, we know that we're dealing with this imbalance of neurotransmitters, right? And so we know that in conventional medicine, and thank God we have these things where we can take a certain medication and it can actually alter that balance of neurotransmitters for us, right? And that's phenomenal. But when we look at it from more of a functional medicine, naturopathic medicine lens, we see what's underlying. And a big piece that's underlying is the health of what's going on within the gut, right? So in that microbiome. And so we know that there's this saying, and it's like fire in the gut, fire in the brain.
Oh.
There's this direct connection,
okay.
right? It's not just a theory, like this is a scientific fact. And so we know that when we can improve digestion, we can reduce inflammation, we can improve the makeup of microbes in the gut, we can actually see an improvement of symptoms with our mental health.
Okay.
So there is a big
So we got to
connection.
get our gut in check.
First
things first. First things first. When people do come to you, are there like general tests that you do? Like, is this for the SIBO? You do a SIBO test, or you automatically put people on?
Yeah.
What is it that you said that people go on right away?
Yeah, like antibiotics.
Yes, thank you. My God. Woo, Jesus, I'm like losing my brain. What's the gut-brain connection for mental capacities? That's where we're at today. But yeah, is that what you would normally suggest? Like someone walks in and you do a couple tests first and just find out?
So I mean, listen, everyone is at a different place in their life, and not everyone actually wants to go down this road of doing this in-depth testing. It's time-consuming and it's costly for some people, right? So it is often based on what the person in front of me is ready for, what they are comfortable with. But ideally, if I had to make a decision, right away we're testing. We're testing your stool, with comprehensive stool testing. We're testing your breath for things like SIBO, H. pylori. There's a variety of options. But yeah, for sure, we're starting with testing because if we treat first,
stool and breath.
Those
are some fun tests.
Yeah, it's definitely
everything starts with the stool, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely does.
And I just remember that because back in the day in my nutrition degree, a lot of it would be like, first thing that we do is we're going to take a stool sample. I'm like, oh, this is fun. This is a lot of fun. Why do you feel that, I think I read somewhere, and I don't know if this stat is accurate, but that women are about 2 to 6 times more likely to experience gut issues over than men. Is it because you think predominantly more, and correct me if I'm wrong, predominantly more than say because they're taking birth control pills or because of maybe their heightened stress and anxiety? Is that what you see more, or any?
You know what?
Any truth to any of this?
It's a really good question. And I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure that there are, like, as you just mentioned, that women are taking things like the birth control pill, right? I also wonder if men are actually living with a lot of these gut issues, but they're not bringing it up and they're just living with it. And whereas women tend to be, not always, but tend to kind of be more aggressive in trying to find a plan for themselves to get better. So maybe we're not seeing as many men complaining of their gut issues. They're just living with it.
Oh,
right?
Interesting. Yeah, because I rarely hear any men complain, but you're right. Maybe we're just more comfortable because we have things like this where we're talking to our girlfriends and we're like, I have this too.
Yeah.
It is funny because my husband and I, whenever we go on trips, and I just find this a funny little anecdote for everyone's knowledge. When we go on vacation, like I'll go like the whole week and not go to the bathroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that can't be good. Why does that happen? He doesn't have this problem.
It's so funny that you mentioned that. Like, I want to say like 50% of my patient population tells me the same thing. And I really do think that part of it is because of the stressors that we experience when we're in a new environment. We might not notice it, but like when we are even, let's say we're trying to sleep in a new place, our cortisol is kind of coming up a little bit because this place is unfamiliar to us. And so we don't really feel those cellular physiological changes that are happening when we're traveling, but they're still happening. And so when our body is a little bit more stressed, a little bit more tense, of course, our musculature in our intestinal tract can't really relax the same way as it would at home when we're in a familiar place. And so I'm sure that has an effect,
right?
And maybe,
so there's nothing we can do.
You know what? There are things you can do. Take supplements.
Okay,
right?
like
take
what?
Different supplements that can help to relax your nervous system, your musculature, really calm down your adrenal glands.
Oh.
Yeah, so things like adaptogens, different minerals as well, like magnesium is a really good one that helps to just kind of soften the musculature a little bit.
And maybe just taking that when you think you kind of need it, or should people be taking something like magnesium all the time?
It depends on the person, right?
Yeah.
Generally, I like to see my patients on certain supplements regularly, although people do run into what we call supplement fatigue, where it's like you're taking something for so long, it's like, I can't take this anymore.
Right.
So I do like to pulse my patients on and off, but there are some supplements like minerals that a lot of us are very deficient in general because we're not accessing them properly. So yeah, there are some that I think, if you're traveling, you might want to start, but then long term, this is my stack that I'm taking long term.
Right. Okay. Very good. Yeah. Well, maybe I'm going on a trip in a couple weeks, so we'll see. I'll keep you all posted on what happens there. Wanted to touch on something that obviously is familiar to so many people, and the reason why I started this show by saying, if you're in your 30s, I happen to be in my late 30s, and I have a lot of girlfriends who are the same age as me or similar age in our 30s. They've had children. They maybe have put on some weight, and they're having a hard time getting off. Like it almost seems like it's stubborn body fat in a way. It's like, look, I'm working out. I feel like I'm eating the right things, or I'm doing what I used to do now before I had the baby, but I can't seem to get rid of this weight. Is there, what do you attribute this to? Why is this such a hard thing for women, particularly maybe when they're in their 30s and later?
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, the first thing that we want to think about is, okay, let's say you're 35. It took you 35 years to get where you are right now. And so maybe your lifestyle habits didn't really affect you when you were 20, 25, even 30. But all of a sudden now it's crept up on you because it's just a little too much. It's like you're filling up your bucket of these lifestyle choices, and finally the bucket has overflown. And now we have to pick up the pieces. And so especially when it comes to, post-childbirth, there are so many hormonal changes that occur to your thyroid, to your sex hormones. The list kind of goes on to your adrenal hormones, things like cortisol, which is our stress hormone, which really does play a big role in our ability to shed weight. And so I think it's multifactorial. So after you give birth, different shifts occur in our endocrine systems. And so then, we have difficulties, not just with losing weight, but that's a big one that comes about. I think as we get older, as I said, the bucket fills up. And so A big reason, I should say, why people can't lose weight is because their cortisol is all out of whack, their stress hormone. And so when we talk about stressors on the body, it's not just mentally emotional stress, it's physiological stressors. So, our lifestyle habits that maybe aren't so great, as I said, that we were kind of doing from a very young age, and they creep up on you, and now you're at a place where your cortisol is all out of whack, which plays a role on your gut, plays a role on your insulin. And it just becomes more difficult to lose the weight because of these imbalances. And
right, because maybe restricting your diet isn't going to impact the insulin and all these other things, right? So you think, well, I'm restricting here, I'm calorie deficient, why isn't it happening? But we haven't really necessarily gotten to the main problem.
Right, yeah, that too. So like a lot of women who are restricting their calories and they're trying to lose weight by, exercising a ton, they're restricting their calories. And I've been there before too, and they're not necessarily seeing any changes. You want to think about those hormones that I mentioned earlier that might be out of whack a little bit. So like we want to take a really deep dive, and that's where really thorough blood work comes into play. We want to look at the thyroid. We want to look at, your insulin. Are you insulin resistant? That's a big one. We want to take a look at your adrenal glands, your inflammatory markers.
Most people don't think they're insulin resistant. Is this like, do a lot of people suffer from this? Because I feel like when you hear insulin resistance, you think of like people who have diabetes. But other than that, you really don't hear or talk about it a lot.
Totally. And that is one of the craziest pieces of information that I came to learn. And this was really something that I came to learn by myself on my road to, I guess I could call it recovery from my, hormonal imbalances. But more people than we know are likely walking around with insulin resistance. And beyond that, maybe even a fatty liver. Because you don't have to look overweight on the outside to have.
But your organs are fat on the inside. Is that what you're saying? Oh, my poor liver.
we don't know. We don't know until we test. But definitely more people are walking around in this state than we know.
And why do you think that is? Because obviously it's not natural to be insulin resistant. Is that because of like North American diet, something else that we're doing, the way we're eating, when we're eating? What's that attributed to?
It's interesting that you're saying all of this because it's probably a combination of all of that. But I really do think that it is that standard North American diet that we've been following, again, since we were so young. And it might not have had that big of an impact on us when we were younger, but the body, needs support. It will start to, not function that well if you don't give it what it needs. And so we're feeding ourselves with kind of the wrong fuel when we're following this standard North American diet.
What is a standard North American diet? Just so I know, so I stop following it. What would you consider it?
The way that I see it is it's very carbohydrate rich. And so our meals aren't necessarily focusing on protein, and then we'll put some carbs on the side. It's kind of like I'll have a, bowl of pasta, and then I'll have a little sprinkle of ground beef on top. And so your protein is like, 20% of your meal. The rest is carbohydrates, maybe some vegetables if we're lucky. So a lot of processed foods, a lot of, fast, convenient foods that have a ton of what we call seed oils, like inflammatory oils in them. This is kind of what I look at as the standard North American diet.
Okay. And whose diet should we be following?
That's a good question. And I think, depending on who you ask, they'll have a different perspective. And to be honest, one diet that works for one person will not work for another person. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
But I think generally what I love to see in my patients is a diet that is full of protein. Yes, you can also have carbohydrates. It shouldn't be the main focus of your meal, but you're also having, plenty of healthy anti-inflammatory fats, and you're also having fruits and vegetables. A really big piece that I find impacts my patients, especially in their weight loss journeys, because a lot of us women are kind of grazers,
Yes. And now you must hate all this hashtag girl dinner stuff, because that's the whole thing is grazing, right? You're kind of I'll eat this right out of the fridge, and then I'll grab some of this. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that, you're about to tell us what's bad about grazing.
Well, I mean, and I definitely can do that too. It's easy to do, right? And that's kind of how we feel like we want to live throughout the day. But the problem occurs when we are kind of eating continuously throughout the day. Well, number one, we're not giving our digestive tracts a break to really digest the food and do what it needs to do. But we're also consistently releasing insulin, a hormone that if we are consistently releasing throughout the day, this will negatively impact our blood sugar. This will signal our bodies to consistently store fat. And so really, I look for my patients to be eating less frequently. Not that they're restricting themselves in calories necessarily, but it's like instead of having 5 small meals a day, for most of my patients, I wouldn't say all, but for a lot of them who are trying to lose weight, I like to see them consuming, 3 really big satisfying meals a day versus 5 small meals a day.
Okay. Are you into intermittent fasting, out of curiosity? Is that something that we're recommending, or?
Intermittent fasting, I think, is the right method for the right person, but it really depends.
Okay.
And so I'm not really telling.
As I put you in the hot seat now.
Yeah.
You're like, well.
Yeah. It's like my answer is it depends, because it does. And it's like I do like to look at things like blood work and have that data in front of me first before I go ahead and recommend something like that, especially long term. If we're trying to get results right away, sometimes intermittent fasting can be okay in the short run, right? But if we're going to do this long term, we really need to be keeping up with follow-ups. We need to be testing you. We need to be looking at your symptoms regularly to make sure that it's continuously right for you.
My goodness. It's like, I guess we spend a lot of our lives eating, so it probably makes sense to do this kind of work. The younger, probably the better, because then once you kind of know, you're at least in tune with yourself. You understand what makes you trigger. Do you recommend people journaling their diets for at least a little bit? Because I feel like people forget what they eat. They're like, I hardly ate anything. And then when you really probe, you're like, you ate a lot of food today.
It's so true. And yes, I do really like people to track or journal what they're eating. And it's not necessarily for me. It is helpful, of course, but I want them to actually see, like, what have I actually been consuming? And so, yeah, like journaling at first is helpful. We don't probably want to do that very long term because that can start to become a little bit obsessive. And that's the one thing that I try not to do with my patients, because I know firsthand, because I've been there, we need to try and achieve this place of like balance.
Right.
And it's not necessarily
that good old word balance. Right. That women love to hate.
We love to hate it. But it's, without having balance in our lifestyle, how can we balance our hormones? Our hormones are heavily influenced. If we're going to be super aggressive and scheduled and we're tracking everything, it's kind of a little bit stressful. We might not even see it. Like a lot of women, they function at this like high level of stress. They don't even know it.
Right. They're just always on.
Yeah.
And guilty. You know what I mean? Like
same.
I'm talking about myself, or certainly, myself as a younger person. Yeah. And you do learn over time to kind of start to recognize things that trigger you, and like whether it's food or stress, and like what do I do when I am stressed? I used to stress eat a lot, and then you start to think of like reasons why I'm doing that. Like what's making me do that? What happens when I stand at the kitchen counter and eat versus when I actually take my plate and sit down at the table and, don't have as many distractions? Yeah. Do I eat slower? That's another thing, actually. Yeah. The pace at which we eat. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? Because I feel like I'm a scarfer. Yeah. My husband is one of these people. He's 6'2". I'm not even 5'1". So he eats a lot, and it makes me nervous because I'm always worried he's going to eat fast and then there won't be enough for me. I feel like I'm like the runt of the litter, and I'm like, oh no. Like what if there's not enough food? God. So now he knows he lets me go and dish my dish first. Like he knows he'll get enough because I don't actually dish that much.
Right.
But I need to go first.
Right.
Because otherwise hilarious. I feel like I'm not going to eat. And I feel like I need to eat fast, or he's going to be like, you done with that? Like and I'll eat it. So, but talk to me about that. Is there an impact of how the pace we eat on our health?
Yeah, for sure. So I would say that when it comes to eating, like one of the biggest factors of like, well, why do we eat? We want to start probably there. Why do we eat? We eat so that we can attain nutrition from our food, right? To keep us going. And in order for us to really attain that nutrition from our food, we need digestion to be kind of optimal, right? And so a lot of that happens in the stomach, a lot of that happens in the small intestine and so on. But a lot of that happens in the mouth too. When we're masticating our food, we're chewing our food, and that starts the breakdown process, really. And so if we're not really chewing our food thoroughly, we're gonna have bigger chunks of food slide on down into our stomach, causing a little bit of issues. So actually eating a little bit slower, where you're chewing more often, is a good idea. And we also have enzymes in our saliva, and these enzymes work to also break down food for us. And so we need to give it a little bit of time in the mouth. Right. And when we're eating really quickly, or we're eating and we're standing really quickly, like we, have a 5-minute break from work and we're standing when we're scarfing down food, our body also isn't in a place where we can kind of rest and digest. So our digestive juices are not actually flowing as they should be. So eating slower actually probably allows us to make more digestive juices, to chew our food more thoroughly, and improve that breakdown process so we can absorb the nutrients in our food better. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and then I guess if you're absorbing the nutrients better, my guess is you have fewer cravings. Like is that accurate? Yeah,
absolutely. Because sometimes we actually crave food not because we're hungry, but we're nutrient deficient.
Mm-hmm.
Our body's like, I need more protein.
Right, and then you feed it chips.
Right, yeah.
And then you don't get anywhere and the cycle continues, right?
And I always tell my patients, a big sign that you're deficient in protein and amino acids is that you're craving carbohydrates. If you're craving carbs, you probably haven't had enough protein that day.
Interesting. Okay, how much? So when we say protein, that this is a hard one because I think some people only think of meat products, obviously, when they think of protein, but think of me, for example. Like I said, I'm late 30s. I'm 5'1". What's the amount of protein? Like, is it a chicken breast at every meal? Is it like I should be having, peanut butter or nuts? Like what? Mm-hmm. I know that's a very vague question, but I'm just trying to get a sense of what the proper amount is because you say not enough, and I'm like, well, what's enough? What is enough?
Yeah. So I don't want to say it depends, but it does depend a little bit. It depends on your height, your weight, things of that nature. But in general, like what I will say is that as we get older, it becomes increasingly more difficult to absorb amino acids. And amino acids are what makes up protein items, right? And so as we get older, we immediately know that we're going to need more protein in our diet. That's number one. Number two.
So it goes up with age.
It goes up with age.
You think it would be less because you're probably not as active, like in my mind, right? You think I don't have as much muscle mass.
Right.
Maybe that's why I lose muscle mass.
You know what? Like you're getting at the right things here because, we want to think about why we even need protein, and there are different reasons, right? But one of the biggest pieces of why we need enough protein in our diets is because it will help us produce enough healthy, lean muscle in our bodies, which is muscle is the organ of longevity, right? And so we need to make sure that it's healthy and that there's enough of it on us. And there's only two ways to build muscle, which is really lifting weights, which not everyone really does, and consuming enough protein. Especially from a weight loss perspective, we need to make sure that you have enough muscle on your body because the more muscle you have, it's like you become more of a fat burning machine.
Right.
Your metabolic rate goes up. So when it comes back to like how much protein, if I were to say generally, I love to see my patients consuming about 30 grams of protein at every single meal.
Ooh, that's quite a bit.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
As you think about one egg, it's like 6 grams of protein. It's nothing.
Right.
And honestly, like my mom, if she eats one egg for breakfast, like we're lucky.
Yes.
And she thinks that that's fine because she's full.
Right.
And a lot of people get really full with a little bit of protein, but that's when we want to think about, well, are we digesting properly? Most of us probably aren't. Okay,
so 30 grams of protein. So let's say I have an egg. That's 6.
Yeah.
What else can I add to this meal?
Yeah.
To make it more beefy? That's not like a steak dinner.
You don't like steak for breakfast?
I mean, I have eaten steak for breakfast.
Yeah,
I just don't know if I'd want it every day.
No,
and I just get the
breakfast.
feeling like, that like the average woman probably isn't sitting and consuming a big steak for breakfast. So like, what can she be adding to help?
Absolutely. So I always like to tell my patients that I want to see you mix your proteins at your meals. I don't necessarily think you need to mix your carbohydrates, but if you mix your proteins, that's great because that helps you get up to where you need to be because not everyone wants to have 5 eggs for breakfast, It's
a lot.
Gross for some people. So you can do whatever really your heart desires. If you like dairy, you can have some cottage cheese and eggs. You can have some sausage in your eggs. You can have smoked salmon and eggs. You can have, like if you're vegetarian, you can go for a more vegetarian source of protein, right? Edamame, you can have tofu, things of that nature. But there's all sorts of ways.
Milk alternatives, out of curiosity.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of protein in that?
In milk?
Yeah, milk alternatives.
In milk
I feel like in milk there is.
In milk, there's an amount of protein there. In milk alternatives, I would say for the most part, we're not looking at a lot of protein unless you're making that milk yourself, let's say. So when I've been doing this recently, I've been making like my own cashew milk.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It tastes amazing.
It does taste amazing. And it looks just like milk.
I know.
It's shocking.
Yeah.
In the fridge, my husband's like, what is this? I'm like, cashew milk. It looks fantastic.
It's mine, not yours.
Yes, yeah. He drinks regular milk.
Right.
Yeah.
No, so I think like in that way, because you're actually using all of the nuts, right, itself, then you're getting a little bit more protein in there. But still, I would say that when you're purchasing alternative milk from the grocery store, it's probably
so
slim to
not so
none.
that's not necessarily going to be your replacement. Okay.
No.
These are good to know.
Yeah.
Very good to know.
But I'll say, like, one tip that I give a lot of my patients, it's like when they are consuming, like, let's say a lot of my patients don't like to consume dairy, and so they'll have alternative yogurts, and that's fine. And so what I'll say is you can always put a scoop of protein powder in there too, right? Because if your yogurt doesn't have too much protein, you can add more.
Protein powder. I feel like this is one of those things where when I read the ingredients, I'm lost on the protein powder. Like it's long. I don't understand it. I feel like, are half of these things good or bad? I don't know. This one has like fake chocolate in it. Does that make it bad? What kind of protein powder should I be looking for?
Oh man, yeah. So everyone will probably gravitate to a different protein powder. Generally, what I like to see, and this isn't just for protein powders, it's with packaged foods in general, it's like the less ingredients in there, the better. You're probably looking at that list of amino acids on that protein bottle. And you're like, what is this that I'm looking at? And that's fine. Like, we want to see all of the amino acids that are listed there. When it comes to choosing the right protein powder for you, you want to consider, well, do I have food sensitivities, right? Because if you're sensitive to dairy, you might not want to go for a whey protein powder. If you have a difficult time with, different vegetarian foods, like a lot of vegetarian protein powders are actually made with like pea protein, brown rice, right? If you are sensitive to those, you don't want to consume them. If you try a vegan protein powder and it makes you bloated, you want to avoid it. If any food makes you bloated, you want to avoid it.
And I guess bloating that comes quickly after a meal, it's from that meal, not like a prior meal? Likely? Okay.
Likely, yeah. And it's not that you want to avoid it forever, but you want to avoid it for now because it's going to cause inflammation in your gut.
Yes.
And, then it can lead to a whole
That's never fun.
No.
I remember back in my university, this is a long time ago now, I remember we were talking about adding, maybe it was powdered milk. Like a cheap alternative to protein powder.
Interesting.
Is just powdered milk, if you can tolerate milk. Because I guess it doesn't have anything else and it's like super duper cheap.
I don't know if I've ever seen that. Just powdered milk.
Condensed milk? Powdered milk?
I have no idea, but that's interesting.
Yeah. Does that sound right to you or not? Don't take my advice, take the Andy's advice.
You know what? At the end of the day,
protein powder.
Milk does have some protein, so maybe that was possible. But, I actually like to see if my patients, if their diet allows for it, I actually like to see most of them on a beef protein powder.
Beef protein powder,
It is generally hypoallergenic for most people. It's a lot easier to digest and absorb. So that's what I like to see.
How do I know it's a beef protein powder? Like if it says whey on the front,
is that whey, it's dairy.
Oh, it's dairy.
It's dairy,
course,
yeah. If it says, vegetarian, vegan, then it's not beef. It'll say beef. It'll say ideally grass-fed beef. But I have a lot of vegetarian, vegan patients, and so I don't really have anything against vegan protein powder. I think that it also makes a great alternative.
Whatever works for you.
It's just whatever works for you.
Right.
Exactly.
I've never even thought about it. Beef protein powder. Makes sense. I want to touch on what we started our conversation with today, which is obviously your journey and getting into this field. And you had mentioned briefly PCOS, Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome.
Yeah.
Do I have that right? I honestly had not heard of this until I found you on Instagram and I started doing the digital deep dive on you. And I was like, what is this that she keeps talking about? PCOS, PCOS, like what is going on? And why is it such a big deal? Or is it a big deal? Is this something that you see in a lot of your patients?
Yeah, I will tell you that I started my practice only working with women who have PCOS. And that's because I myself went through it and I understood how hard it was to go through it and how hard it was to find someone who could give you reliable advice or help or guidelines to getting better. And so in my time when I was struggling with my symptoms, I went to see probably 7 or 8 different naturopathic doctors. And I still didn't really receive like this concrete answer of what's going on with me, what should I do, how can I improve? It really took me going to school and doing my own research to do that for myself. And so
that's exhausting though, for the average human, you know what I mean?
It's exhausting. And I guess like I was built for this.
Right, yeah, I guess
I'm relentless. Like when I'm struggling with something, I'm relentless to figure out a solution. And so that's what happened there. And it's somehow, it made its way into my career. And so yes, like this is a very common endocrine disorder, so a hormonal disorder or imbalance, you can call it, that affects more women than you know. I should say.
Yeah.
And a lot of women might not even realize that they have PCOS.
I was doing some reading, that it says like the average woman probably ends up being undiagnosed who has it.
Yeah, and they might only find out one day when they're trying to conceive, let's say.
Oh, okay.
Or they might find out one day when their period just completely disappears. So yeah, it's definitely common. And
what am I looking for? You know, you said obviously like if I can't conceive, maybe that's where they go. Do most fertility clinics even test for that? Do you know?
So they definitely test. I'm not always seeing as in-depth blood work as I'd like to see in my fertility patients from, their fertility doctors, but they definitely do like the basics that they need to diagnose. But what you're looking for is multifactorial. You're looking for symptoms, that's first. So symptoms of PCOS can look like, well, can't really lose weight the way that I want to. I'm losing my hair where I want it to be, or maybe I'm growing hair where I don't want it to be.
Oh gosh.
It
triple threat.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Acne is a really big one. What else? Irregular periods. Like your period doesn't have to be missing. It can just be that you have elongated cycles, or maybe you're only getting a period every other month, right? Like that is another sign that we're looking for. When it comes to testing, what I'm typically looking for is, well, how are your what we call androgens doing? So things like testosterone. That's one of the androgens you might, and people probably understand, right? But there's other androgens that we have to test for, right? So DHEA is a big one. Androstenedione is a really big one. So I'm looking at your blood work. Are your androgens elevated? That's what's causing a lot of the symptoms of PCOS. We're also looking at ultrasounds to see if there are any cysts on the ovaries. Some women will have those cysts on the ovaries. Some women won't.
Okay. Is it more often that they do have them?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
You know what? I will say that a lot of women don't actually get ultrasounds when they need to. But you know what? It's almost like 50-50 from what I see.
Okay.
Some women do, some women don't. But I'm not ruling out PCOS yet.
Okay.
The other truth is that a lot of things can look like PCOS with similar symptoms, but they're not PCOS. And that's why testing is so important.
What looks like PCOS that isn't?
It's
or just other like you might say like, well, you have skin issues, but that's not necessarily related to this. Or
well, exactly. Like for example, your skin is breaking out, and I have women come to me like this all the time, and they're like, I definitely have PCOS because my skin is horrible, and I'm like, wait,
right?
Let's
just self-diagnose.
Let's do some digging and test your other hormones. Let's see how your gut's doing, because your skin can be breaking out because of your androgens being elevated, but it could be your estrogen being elevated, your progesterone could be too low. You could have a variety of overgrowths, like for example, a fungal overgrowth in your gut that could be driving this for you. And so that's what I mean when I say a lot of these symptoms can look like PCOS, but they might not be.
Any type of symptom that is, or long-term symptom that like is more scary, I want to say, like, because obviously a lot of people, they'll say, yeah, I have acne, but like I'll live with it. You know what I mean? That's not necessarily like we talked about when you're younger. Obviously that seems like a bigger deal. But then the older you get, you're like, okay, yeah, I'm an adult that has acne. Like it's not that serious. Maybe they don't even know if they can or cannot conceive. Anything that's kind of like, look, you definitely want to make sure that you at least get tested for this type of thing because it could cause XYZ. I don't know enough about it. Yeah.
That's a great question. So like, for example, let's go back with the acne example that you have there. It's like, well, are you experiencing a lot of acne because you're also insulin resistant? Like when it comes to PCOS, we have all of these elevations in those androgens, right? And the reason, well, we have to find out the reason why that's happening. And a big reason why I see that happening is because women are insulin resistant. And when you're insulin resistant, you're not just gonna have a hard time losing weight. You're not just gonna have acne on your face. Like this is going to impact your metabolic health. And this is going to impact your metabolic health for the rest of your life if you don't get it under control. A lot of women who have PCOS, they also have diabetes, or they're on the road to diabetes type 2 specifically, right? And so definitely like these things can affect your organs. They can cause organ damage in the long run. And they can lead to a variety of cardiovascular events if you don't take care of it.
Right.
So yeah, for sure. If you don't look at that underlying cause, who knows where to lead you?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so when you finally figured it out and you did all the research and everything, what was your plan of attack from that point forward? And is it something that like if you have it, you live with it forever, or is it treatable?
Okay, so good question again. So yeah, for sure. It's similar to type 2 diabetes. And I don't know how much you know about that, but basically when you have type 2 diabetes, you can reverse it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you fall back into the old lifestyle that you had and you're like over consuming carbohydrates and sugar and all that good stuff, you will probably dip back into a place of diabetes type 2. Same thing with PCOS. So we can reverse your symptoms, but we cannot just eradicate them for good and they'll never come back.
Right.
Because we can reverse them by changing your lifestyle, your diet, and all of these factors. If you fall back into what you were originally doing, with time, you might end up there again.
Okay, what are like the big no-nos then in the diet that people with PCOS, you really need to stop this, or you really need to focus on consuming this?
So it's interesting with PCOS because there's a variety of root causes. And so what works for someone who has insulin resistant PCOS will not work for someone who has, maybe overactive adrenals that are driving their androgens to be elevated. So I would say someone who is insulin resistant, if it was a patient of mine, I like to see them monitoring their carbohydrate intake. I never take carbohydrates away because they're important. They're here for a reason, but we're monitoring the carbohydrate intake. We're focusing on a high protein diet, plenty of vegetables in the diet as well, getting that fiber in, fats. But if it's someone who is experiencing symptoms of PCOS because of their adrenal glands, we might not want to limit or monitor carbohydrates in the same way.
Oh, why?
Because they might not be insulin resistant.
Got it. So it wouldn't have any impact on them.
And it might negatively impact them because it might be too much of a stressor for their body.
Now, when you say carbohydrates, because I remember here, and you still hear to this day, like certain fruits have a lot of carbohydrates.
Yeah.
Would you ever say you don't want to have a certain type of fruit? When you say carbohydrates, I guess I'm asking, are you thinking more specifically bread, pasta, tortilla, that kind of thing? Or are you thinking even in the fruits and vegetable realm?
Yeah, so definitely fruits and vegetables are included. Carbohydrates can look all sorts of ways on the outside, but when they break down on the inside,
it's the same thing.
It's similar, right? Like they might have varying nutrients, but they are all breaking down into glucose essentially. And so I'm including things like breads and pastas and cupcakes and crackers, but I'm also including fruits. There are some fruits that have a higher fiber content, like berries, which are, a little bit of a better choice for a lot of my patients. But yeah,
versus
definitely,
a banana?
Like a banana, for example, which is so easy to just grab and go, right? But yeah, bananas, like fruits in general, and then even a lot of vegetarian sources of protein. So like legumes are full of carbohydrates too.
Oh, right. I wouldn't have even thought of that.
Yeah.
And people think that's the superfood. You got to take the meat out, put the legumes in.
And for some people it works.
Right.
But for some people, especially those who are insulin resistant and struggling, it might not.
I guess that's why it's just so important, right? To not paint everyone with the same brush. And that's what makes, obviously you coming here and, we're trying to have a broad conversation to bring awareness to something, but at the same time, it really comes down to getting the patient in, doing a full workup to fully understand what it is that's under the hood versus kind of, people watching this and saying, now I have all the tools and everything I need to go and figure it out on my own. Having said that, I think someone like yourself, if you are that kind of person who's no, I am going to document and I'm going to research and I'm going to, I'm very good at listening to my body, then you might be able to sort it out on your own. But obviously a naturopathic doctor is one easy way to probably get to those answers a little bit quickly.
Yeah, it's always helpful to have someone who's a little bit more unbiased to look at the picture and to help you have a less clouded view of what's going on, for sure.
When you give people some advice, is it hard for a lot of people? Because I think generally speaking, we know, people know maybe the cupcake's not the healthiest thing, things high in sugar and things like that.
Yeah.
What do you find is the hardest thing that they have to get over? Is it time restraint? Is it stress? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, time restraint is a big one because a lot of the women that I work with are, high achieving, busy women who they have a business and maybe they also have 2 kids and another one on the way and, they have a husband and all of this. So they have a lot going on already. And so I think finding the time tends to be one of the bigger hurdles that people have to work through. It's okay, well, now I have to start looking at my food and actually thinking, well, what am I going to eat? Maybe I have to prepare something, right? fail to prepare to fail.
Right.
So you have to prepare now, and you have to find time for it. And so I think that's a really big factor for people.
It's also one of those things. I think when people do get kind of a hold of their health, they find they have more energy to do the preparation, right?
Yeah.
It's not fun at the start, but then once you kind of get in the groove, A, it becomes habitual, and B, it's like, well, now my body's functioning more efficiently. So now like staying up a little bit later to prepare this type of thing for tomorrow, it doesn't seem as daunting or perhaps exhausting.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think energy is a big one too. Energy and motivation. And so first, we really do want to work on getting someone more energy and understanding their why. Like, why do they even want to improve their health? Because that's a big one. If you don't really know why you're doing it, you probably don't want to stick to it.
Right.
Right.
That's
for that
true.
long.
Yeah, not everyone's interested, right?
Yeah.
So that's so good. Okay. Where do people find you if they're listening to this and they're like, I have all these issues, or I have some of these issues and I don't understand, or maybe we shed a little bit of light on PCOS today.
Yeah.
Where's the best place that they can find you, get a hold of you, and have a consultation?
Yeah. So the best place that you can probably reach me at is my Instagram. So it's at Dr. Rebecca Karlin, or Dr. Rebecca Karlin. But I have a clinic called Femina Health where we have a variety of practitioners who have a special focus in a variety of different endocrine disorders, GI conditions, and things like that. And so, our website is a great place to go to, feminahealth.ca.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I hope I shed some light on some things that you're passionate to. Obviously, I found you on Instagram myself, and when I did the deep dive here, like, you have some great content there, and you're always giving some great tips, and so we appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
For the world. And guys, we'll see you next time.